This morning on Twitter and Facebook, I posted that today, the feast day of St. Mary, is meant to be a sign of hope, that our redemption has been accomplished. Do you notice in the Song of Mary, the Magnificat that was the gospel, all the verbs are past tense. He's cast down the mighty from their thrones. He has lifted up the lowly. All of that is, in essence, a way of trying to think forward. Because you see, God's action, He is doing it. It comes into being. And already, you see, in His mind, if you could use that term, it's coming into being. It breaks forth into earthly circumstances and is carried out. So that even before it is, in essence, spoken, it is done. Because God's commands, God's will, and God's actions are irreversible. I think about that because I think at one level that the only thing that qualifies, Athanasius called her our sister Mary, is the promise that he had already made to the nation of Israel. I mean, remember, sisters and brothers, this is prior to the life of Jesus, prior to the resurrection of Jesus, prior to the outpouring of the Holy Spirit on Pentecost. Who's Mary? Literally, it is an act of God's mercy, the most unassuming of women. We'd pass over her in a heartbeat. We'd always be attracted to the better qualified, the better looking, the better connected. God sees something very, very different. And it comes out of His choice, as you see, as a sign of hope to you and me. Because you see, if our sister, Mary, can become, by God's choice, the bearer of the Word of God, when there is nothing that qualifies her, as it were, except for God's choice, for that position, that responsibility, that extraordinary responsibility, that it is meant to be both a sign of who God is. What is He doing? He has cast down the mighty from their thrones and lifted up the lowly. That means we're in, you see. And that the basis of our redemption before God is what we see even in the angel Gabriel speaking to Mary. She doesn't qualify, but she is chosen. As is true for you and me. Not that we are her, not that we bear that responsibility. What she did was literally irrepeatable. But she is, you see, our sister. I fear sometimes that Queen of Heaven language, while not inappropriate, can be a device that we use to separate her from us and thus shortchanging the good work of what God desires to do. And we who are also very unqualified, except by God's choice. At that point, what happens is that she is not a sign of hope as much as she is an instrument. And she is that. But it's also meant to be a word of good news to you and me. She is, in fact, a foretaste. A foretaste. Which finally finds its fulfillment in the Galatian lesson. We are now heirs. We are heirs of all that God would ever want to give to us and more. And so, don't think about her over here. Think about being welcomed into a circle in which she stands with us, pointing the way, even giving really good advice. Whatever He tells you to do, you do it. Remember from the water into wine story? So that we give thanks, in essence, for our sister, who God gave the grace and the courage to say yes. Even as we also have been so chosen, unqualified though we are, that we too would have the courage, I have to say it, to keep saying yes. Amen.